this was never a job they talked about in the job fair.
Right.
You know,
So true.
no one ever came to your school and said, "Do you want to be a sex educator or do you want to work in a sex shop?" That never was a thing. But there was a point in my early adulthood where I decided I wanted to have as many varied jobs as possible because I always wanted to be able to go like, "Oh yeah, I know about that thing because I worked in that thing." There was just a thought. I was like, "That's so cool. I love meeting people who've done so many different things in their life and have all these facets." And that was the only thing I ever knew I wanted to have as an adult. Nothing else. I didn't know anything
Variety.
else. I kind of want to be a writer, and I knew I wanted to have like an adventurous life in some form or fashion, but that was it. That's all I knew. And sex ed was just, it was, I mean, I knew about it, but the way I always thought about it growing up was it was just a section you got taught in school or barely taught in school. And maybe there'd be a teacher who taught it or who came in special, or your health teacher was teaching you those things. I didn't know it was like a separate entity unto itself.
Right.
And then it was like 2010, I got a Twitter account. I was still monogamous at that time. I was going through a quarter life crisis. I was freshly married and just like, or was I freshly engaged? No, I was freshly married. And it was just, I was unhappy and missed being creative and missed being debaucherously sexy. And Twitter felt like the place I could do that anonymously. And that's where I started. And everybody asked where I got Dirty Lola from. My little legal middle name is Lolita. Thanks, Mom.
Yep.
Right, I know. Good times.
Yeah.
And so I was just trying to find something that went that, you know, if you saw it, you wouldn't think of my first name,
Right.
because I was hiding at first. And everything I tried didn't work, and then Dirty Lola did, and that's what stuck, and then has just become my moniker. But it wasn't. It was literally throwing things at the wall. And Twitter was just a place where I shared the stuff I was going through that I didn't feel I could share with my friends yet. Like, we were opening up our marriage. I think I had always known I was kinky, but I didn't know how to make it happen in real life. And then when we were opening up our marriage, it offered the opportunity to explore that with other people because my partner at the time wasn't kinky. And so I was going through all these things and meeting new people and needed a place to put it. And that's what Twitter became. And it was just also a place to put my boobs.
They belong everywhere.
You know, but it was, you know, when you're, I think sometimes having that space to act out sounds negative, but just for people to see you, it's safe. You're in your house, right? You're dressing up, or it was never my face. I would do all these really intricate like boob photos. Like I have one, I tied a little bow on it. It was just really close. And like I would come up with ways to show my boobs that were fun, and it was exciting, and people loved it. And I would get all these like followers. Like my following literally came from Titty Tuesday and showing my boobs. And to this day, I still joke that people came for the titties, but they stayed for the knowledge.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because that's where that came from. But within all of that, I was talking about the journeys I was going through, my body, unbeknownst to me, starting out, I was being a beacon of permission for so many people, whether it was like being older and figuring out these new parts of your life, being in a bigger body, being Black and in a bigger body, being queer Black and in a bigger body, and figuring out these things.
Right.
And people would message me and go, you made me realize like I can do this too, or that I can, you know, I don't have to be where I am. I can keep changing and growing. And it was also this weird slot where for a long time I had all these men who would just talk to me about sex things, but not in a way aimed at me, but they had questions. They were lonely. They didn't know how to get out of the situations they were in. They like many people get into things and then they were just like looking for an outlet. I used to watch so many men jerk off. But and they didn't want anything from me. They just wanted an audience. They wanted a consensual audience that found them attractive, that was, you know, and we kind of became friends. when I went through my divorce, I got a beautiful note from a man that I used to watch jerk off all the time. And literally all I ever did was sign on, watch him, have a good day, sign off. And he sent me this beautiful note about how I held space for him and he just wanted to make sure I would be okay. And he saw that I was getting a divorce and he just wanted to reach out and say that like he cared that and hoped I was okay. Just it was just like, wow.
Yeah. It sounds to me when I hear that you became a permission slip for people to
Yeah.
really love and honor and learn how to love and honor what it was that they wanted and needed at that time.
Yes. And
Yeah.
to be dirty and salacious, but like with permission, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't have to, don't just send it to a stranger. You've befriended this dirty girl on the internet who would love to watch you sound your penis. Also for me, because I would learn, like I would ask, like, oh, can you talk about why you're doing it? Can you tell me like the whole prep you do for this? And I would watch so I learned all about sounding. I don't have a penis, but I
Right.
got a really close up lesson in sounding just from somebody wanting me to watch and then allowing me to like talk to them. And that was the beginning of what I didn't know was going to be a career. I just thought I was out here having
Right.
fun. And then I guess I became sort of a personality because I had a blog and I was tweeting, I had this following, and I started going to conferences and I went to this sex positive conference, Catalyst Con, that doesn't exist anymore. But Catalyst Con was like a little bit of every conference all in one. So it was like kinksters, porn stars, sex workers, sex educators, therapists, all coming together to swap information.
Wow.
Why
So you
isn't that
could
still
go
happening?
to, I wish. I think the founder, Dee Dennis, I think she just got burnt out. She did
Yeah.
it for a long time and got burnt out, like most people do. But it was beautiful because you could, in one conference, go to a talk about sex workers' rights, learn about, legalities and taxes for people in the sex realm, whether you're a sex worker or a sex educator or whatever. And then also like go to a talk about swinging or polyamory or just a general sex ed topic. It was beautiful and wonderful. And I wanted to be more a part of it. And I was also meeting all these amazing people. And so I sat and I started brainstorming. And at the time in New York, I was hosting burlesque shows because, again, I want to have a lot of jobs and to be able to say, I did that. So I was hosting burlesque shows for a friend. And it was like, how do I combine these two worlds that I am really digging? And the friend I was hosting the shows for one night we're at my house and she asked me something. It was a sex question and I pull everything out and we talk about it and she just stops. She goes, you need to be doing this for other people. You just know so much and people don't have a you and people don't have somebody who is just willing to share this stuff and you do it in a way I understand it and you're funny and you really need to do this for other people. And I thought she was crazy. I was like, nobody's going to come listen to me talk about sex on stage. But it got in my head and I went to another Catalyst Con and Francisco Ramirez was there, who's since become a great friend and collaborator. And he was doing a class on making your ideas like real. Like, how do you take the things you're imagining and make them into this tangible thing? And in that class, I sat and furiously wrote into this notebook that I still own and just plotted out Sex Ed a Go-Go, which was, I wanted to combine sex ed and burlesque and go-go and make it into a thing. And that was where that was birthed. And I've done that show for over a decade. It's gone all across the United States and all across North America. So we've been to Canada and Mexico with the show. I'm on break right now. I haven't done it for a bit, but that was the real beginning to Dirty Lola being like a job, a thing. And life started happening. So I was doing the show, still working in an office, hating it. I quit. And then other opportunities started bubbling up. Like that's where I started dildo slinging. I got the job at Shag and I've never left. It'll be my 12th year next year.
Wow. That's where I met
know.
you. I
The
traveled
longest job I've
all the
ever
way
had.
across the city before I got
You
on my
did.
plane just so I could come see you.
You did, and we hugged and we had a great combo, and then you had to be on out. You had to go, and it was like, oh, that was so lovely, and I appreciated it. That was a good day. But that job was, I think, the beginning of really solidifying this is what I was going to do, because it was not just selling sex toys, we do workshops. And so I started teaching. And that was where I felt like, oh, I just have a high school diploma,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was a poor kid, high school diploma, didn't make it to college, been on my own since I was 17. So college was just out the window once I got kicked out and was living on my own. But I've always been very voracious with knowledge, and I read everything I can get my hands on, and I'm self-taught. And sex was a very interesting topic to me because I'm a victim of childhood sexual assault. And so my hyperfixation slash sexualization was me reading and wanting information about the things that happened to me because nobody would talk to me about it. Not in a way that I just wanted information. People want to talk about the trauma part. I didn't want to talk about that because at the time, I think even as a kid, I had not been in my body, and so I wasn't in touch with the trauma, but I was in touch with the curiosity of like, okay, but explain this orgasm. What's this feeling?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that I knew something had happened. And I remember trying to explain it to people, and it's like your whole body vibrates and you're sparkling. And I couldn't get an answer about like what had happened. And I was like, God damn it, I'm gonna figure this out.
Right.
Because I was masturbating at that time, and I'm like, what is it called? Somebody tell me. And I found my grandpa's porn, and it was magazines, and that was so informative because people tell stories and there would be articles. Like I read the articles in the
Me too. Back in the day, the stories and the old Playboys and Hustlers
and those little booklets that were like black and white, and people would tell stories, and that's where I learned like words like cunt and cock and So as a kid, I was like, oh, knowledge. Where do I get this? So I've always been like that, and I just have a cachet, and I wanted to share it. Not from a place of like, I know everything, but like, maybe I can help. Right.
Yeah.
And that's what Sex at a Go-Go was. That's kind of what my career has turned into as I've taught people, is that I don't know everything, but I know people. I know a lot of people. I know about a lot of places. I have a lot of resources, and I love to share that. And maybe I can give you a little info and some resources and send you off to like figure out what you need to figure out, or connect you with somebody who can show you. And that's really where all of this came from. And then it's just blown up into, I don't think I planned any of this. I'm now at 44 and at my, 14 years in sex education. I think this is the first time I've actually had to sit down and plot what I'm doing and try to get somewhere else with this, but things just kind of roll in. Like, the TV things, when I say they just happened, they did. It was people said my name in the room and said, you should talk to Lola.
Yeah.
And part of it is being everywhere. I know that. And I don't want to discount that I am prolific.
Yeah.
And I think according to Podcatcher, I've been on 115 podcasts.
Yeah,
wow.
Girl, get it.
Hell yeah.
I like that you get around.
I do, but it's just because I love doing these things. And I think that's what kind of has gotten me to a place, is that like if you keep popping up, somebody's going to see you somewhere, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, what comes up to me just in this conversation, because I've done a lot of research on you, Lola, since we knew we were going to talk, and I loved everything I've heard, I've read, I've watched, I've listened to some of your podcasts. I mean, I love this is I think what really draws me in, and you're so authentic with what you do. You're authentic.
Thank you.
And it's like when we find those moments of authenticity, we're doing exactly what we need to be doing. It's like an actualization moment where we find all these weird fucking things throughout our life that might be traumatic, that might be inquisitive, that might be kind of curious and weird. And then all of a sudden we find that culmination point where it all shifts together. And it's like, oh, amazing. Yes, I have this innate ability to make people feel safe about this awkward conversation that a lot of us grew up not really fully understanding, because no adult really wanted to fully talk about penises and vaginas. So we tap dance around all this shit. And then all of a sudden we get to an age of where like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. This just goes in there, right? You know, it's like, okay, cool. You know, and I've, grew up in the internet age, so I watched a ton of porn. Most of my sex education came from porn. I didn't even know that wasn't even correct until I was in my 30s. You know, it's like, fuck, man.
Right.
You know, so like just having these people like yourself that just lean into your authenticity and the knowledge that you have, the charisma that you hold, and utilize that to say, hey, look, this doesn't have to be weird unless you make it weird. Let's fucking talk about it, right?
Yeah, that's my ethos. I don't, it's like how I don't understand monogamy, even though I was monogamous. I felt like I was acting.
Right.
I'm not monogamous, but I can't get the feeling that monogamous people get. Like, I just don't understand it. I don't understand at all. I can't compute. It's the same thing. I don't understand why people just can't talk about or won't talk about things, especially when they're having a problem, right? Like,
Right.
I get struggling to start the conversation. I get when you don't even know maybe the conversation is there and you need to have it. But when people are going through something, the like sitting and not wanting to talk about it at all, or the hiding until it gets worse, or just coming in, like, it's just at some point you have to get that you gotta just, it's not weird, and to talk about it. And if I tell you it's not weird, it's not weird. Like, I have that conversation all the time in the shop. Like, this is normal. You're not special. Like, I hate to break
There's
it to
a
you.
reason why these toys are made. Like, there's a masses that decided that this is a benefit and of use, and enough people wanted it that they put it through the production line.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just that some old white man was like, sure, and did it.
Yeah,
and
true.
and you know, but that is the reason why that it's so varied and wonderful. But you have to dig deep and get the information about yourself to know it's gonna work for you, or be open to just trying it and not have everything's not gonna have a definitive answer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're taking away one of our biggest natural healing modalities that we have is that sense of pleasure and the sense of connection and the sense of belonging. And if we're taking that away by making it weird and awkward or cumbersome, or not even given the vocabulary to use to say, let's talk about this, right? We're dismissing like one of those just human functions that we have to heal, like sexual healing. Marvin Gaye wasn't just talking shit. Like, it's a real thing, right? Like having an orgasm, being in communication with somebody, being a physical, like smelling their endorphins, like actually sweating with somebody without perfumes and oils around, right? It's like you have this natural connection with somebody that re-regulates us on a deep, I mean, in a spiritual level, but also in a humanistic way, just to fucking feel good, right?
Yeah.
And we're like demonizing, pushing it away, not even making it an option because we just haven't found the universal way to talk about it to where everybody feels okay. It's like, no.
Right.
There's so much fear.
Or the creating of rules, right? Like, how many books are there about like when you should do a thing and how many days and all these things. And it's, we've taken away the ability to like stop and do I feel something. Like, I always say, like, I'm a fuck on the first date girl if we vibe.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I know what I want, like if I feel like, oh, I would like this to be more, and maybe like to stretch it out might give us a little bit more time to know each other, sure. But sometimes I'm just like, for me, I need to know if I like you, so I need to have sex. Like, how much do I like you? Because I can dislike you after beds.
Well, and I think that also speaks to what you just said. You know what you want, right?
Yeah.
And there's so much fear around giving ourselves permission to have desire because we're so afraid of being rejected and or failing or fumbling. Like, my husband and I the other night, we were locked in and we were trying to roll over to the other side and we couldn't do it. And I started laughing. I was like, babe, we're not in our 20s anymore. We can't do that shit. Something's going to break. And it's like, there's so much pleasure in laughing, in the joy, in the awkwardness, right? And I love seeing some of the memes online. Actually, I think maybe some of them I've seen on your page, but it's like other things to expect, right? And it's like, you know, hitting your head on the headboard, or like tripping over a cord walking to the bed, or like your underwear getting trapped on something, like all the awkward things that happen that get cut out of films, right? Like the sex scenes in Hollywood, of course, make all of us drool, but like, come on now, who's going to really want to clean up the desk that you just pushed all the shit off of?
Right.
Yes.
Like,
now there's a puddle or a butt print.
right. So like, what I hear in that authenticity and your way of relating to people is there's a softening for people to enter into that space where they come in tune with their own sense of safety and like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, it's okay for me to talk about this. And I would say I feel like I play that role in my circle as well. Like people come to me because I'm not afraid to talk about anything. And they know
Mhm.
that because I'm often the one that brings up the topic that people are afraid to talk about. And so the feedback that I've heard, and I would be curious to hear from you as well, is like, what are kind of the common hangups that you feel like people come to you about, and what are what are the remedies, or what are the things that you would suggest for those hangups?
Mhm. Oh, lately I feel I'm getting more and more of the aging body
Mm-hmm.
things, but I think the big difference is our women in the 40s when we were younger. So when we were in our teens and early 20s, women in their 40s seemed so much older to us.
Yeah.
And I don't and I think they were like everybody felt older. And we are here now and we look very different. Like
Mm.
when you look back at old pictures, even just in physical, we all read younger. And I think especially for I'm a Zennial with an X,
Yeah, me
we
too.
straddle. And I think we have this weird like we've been through so many timelines and both
Mm-hmm.
because we were learning because there wasn't timeline for us to have yet. Like there wasn't any entertainment. So we were just learning about the history before us and then we were in the present and then we have kept up with what's happening as the future has gone on. It's
Is that why
weird,
we're
like we're
so
time
tired?
travelers. Yes, it's why we're so tired
So
because we've been
tired.
traveling through space and fucking time. But I think we also have hit this spot where we're like, well, fuck it. Why wasn't anybody talking about menopause? Like, why
Mm-hmm.
didn't our moms talk to us about this? Why didn't our grandmas talk to us about this? And we're like, fuck that. This ends with us. Like, we're all loud about being hot. We're
Yep.
all loud about being sweaty and tired and our joints hurting. And we're like, what's going on with you? Is your vagina dry? Like, we're just
Oh,
having
yeah.
because we're having those, and so I feel like that is the thing that is happening now. But there is like the folks on the threshold, like the ones that are a little younger than us. I think somehow they because we didn't have kids, so they're not our kids. They're
Mm-hmm.
like maybe our younger siblings, maybe they're a little bit behind. They have the shame that we somehow missed us, right? Like they're coming in like I'm
Yeah.
having I think I'm starting to have this issue. And you're like, okay. And matter of factly, like I'm like, oh, are you going through like are you having BV? Are you having like yeast infection issues, UTIs? Like here's some stuff that can help. I ask about condom usage because like a lot of these things can stem from having like latex sensitivity
Yeah.
or all out allergy that they've never examined and they're doing. But to have those things, and there's so much shame around like dryness.
Yeah.
There's so much shame around, not having an orgasm, or not having it soon enough or hard enough, or I don't know if I can ever like have this kind of orgasm, or like I feel like there's been a little backslide in things, whereas feel like folks in our category have been like, let's learn about it, let's sail off, let's
Mm-hmm.
tell me about that G spot orgasm, tell me about that A spot, and now we're getting this backslide where all of this information is out there, and I think it's intimidating.
I was
So
gonna
that's the
say,
stuff
yeah.
I'm getting.
It feels
Yeah,
like there's like our generation, because we're in that. Well, he's a little bit older than we are, but
you're
not by
probably
much.
you're Gen X,
Yeah,
right?
Gen X.
You're
Yeah,
like yeah,
45.
yeah,
Yeah.
Gen X.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
talk about being a millennial too because you and I are really close in age, but my brother, I'm the youngest, so my brother was 5 years older, so like I fit
Okay.
into the Gen X category in some ways.
Yeah.
But I think what that brings up when I hear you saying that is like we had a lot of life in trial and error where
Mm-hmm.
we couldn't Google shit to
Mm.
see
Yep.
like, what does this mean or what does that mean? And we just had to go try it and
Yeah.
fail forward until we could figure it out.
Yeah.
And these younger generations, and it's interesting, I work with a lot of younger women, which I love. Um, and I've never had this experience, so I'd love to pick your brain on this front.
Mhm.
Like pain with sex with young women, and the
Yeah.
women that I know that are experiencing it at our age and older, a lot of them, it's for various reasons, and it's usually psychosomatic. It's like, oh, you're finally in a relationship where you feel safe and your body's saying no when you didn't say no before, and now you get to work through
Right.
that. But these young women, and I'm talking like 16 to 24, having pain with intercourse. And and I'm like asking the questions like, well, what are you using? Do you have lubricant? One person said to me, lubricant's for old people. And I was like, oh, well, let me help you out with that.
And that conversation, right? Because it's like, yes, you're wet, but that wetness is not viscous enough. It's not smooth enough. You're still experiencing internal friction, whether you think you are or not. Like, unless you are just bubbling over with wetness, you're probably not wet enough on the outside either. So you're going to experience things. And I find the folks who are a little older and experiencing, like in our category, the tightness and pain immediately was like, something's wrong. Let me fix it. Right. Like they're searching for, they come in searching for the things. Like they've already been to the doctor. They've already they're like, oh, this is the product. They're on the hunt for the cure, right? They're on the hunt for the thing that's going to work for them. So it's not that it's not happening. They're just being proactive. And the younger people are just kind of like, there's too much going on. Also, I don't want to talk about it. Something's wrong with me. They're enduring it, which I'm like, please, Lord, stop. Because you're just fucking up your head for the future. You're fucking up. If that's going to be your partner, you're fucking up the future sex you're ever going to have with them, because you're going to equate them with painful sex that didn't feel good for the rest of your relationship together. But they're kind of enduring it, or they're overwhelmed by stuff. And maybe they don't have health insurance. Like they're not going to the doctor. They're not figuring the stuff out. And I feel like I get more of like, oh, I'm experiencing this. And when I say, oh, it's vaginal tightness, this and this and that. And I'm like, oh, have you talked to your doctor about it? They'll say, oh, no. And they might have a doctor, but they haven't had that conversation. Like my doctor knows I'm a slut. Right. He knows everything. He knows all, because he has to. I want him to know what I need. Like they know my background. So the moment I was able to get to the HPV vaccine, he was like, you want this? He would go down the list like, okay, you got this one, we got this. Oh, you want this? Okay, we're going to get you set up for that. You want this? I wasn't on PrEP yet. He was like, well, why aren't I? Was like, well, I didn't know PrEP was for me. He's like, it's for you. Like it took a while for them to test it for women, but it's for you. So you can be on it. And I appreciate him knowing that. But if he didn't know that I was out here in these streets, he wouldn't recommend those things to me. And maybe I wouldn't know to ask. Like I didn't know that they had raised the age for HPV vaccination to 45. Right. So, and I got that 4 years ago? Yeah, I got it, or right before my 40th. I didn't know that, and I wouldn't have known that and known to ask. And now I tell people, I'm like, ask for it, like see if you can get it, because you can. You're not too old for it yet. And that's the thing, though. I just feel like younger people, I think it's too much information. Yeah. And there's too many people telling them things. Too much TikTok. Sadly. and maybe, and I love TikTok because TikTok can be very helpful. But I think TikTok, like everything, is a tool and a resource. It's not the answer. And too many people use it as the answer. So when I hear things on TikTok, I go look them up. That's what I was going to say. I go do research. They get conflicting information, and then a plethora of different ideas, and and then that's paralysis. It's like, I don't know where to even begin. Or so let's go watch a cat. They love. So because they love them, that's the person they trust. Yep. Because they love them, but that person may not actually be, like, how many people have been revealed to not be who they said they were on TikTok, and all these things. Or so I think it's just become this place where people have lost the ability to go do the legwork when they find something out. So when I find something out, I'm going to go read more about it. I'm not just going to take it for face value. And then I'm going to say, how does this apply to me? That's a skill that stopped with us. I don't think young people have gotten that. And it's not their fault. It's the school system. Like, I learned media literacy in high school. I don't think they teach that in high school anymore. Right. I learned about questioning everything in high school. Yeah. Like I learned about, and that was in science class. That was in English class. That was in social studies and all the classes I took there was always this nugget of question everything.
Yeah.
Even math. Is this real?
Yeah. Is 2 + 2 4? Then fucking prove that shit.
No, but when you learn, if you learn theorems, right? Theorems are my favorite type of math. I don't like math, but theorems, I love math. Because theorems are puzzles. Theorems and proofs and things are puzzles. You figure out the shortest way to get there. So it's like, even in that, you're like, is this the actual way to get to this? Or is there a better way to get to this? I don't know if kids are being taught, young people are being taught to really question. I mean, we're sliding into fascism, so they're definitely not being taught to question.
Yeah.
It's less and less, and that applies to our bodies too, right?
Yeah.
So, like everything you were saying about pleasure and picking your toy or asking about a problem that you're having, looking for the resource, like they just
there's
kind of
support available, right?
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, I've definitely had a good amount of experience working with men, aging men. And it's just, so for women, it's a general assumption that we dry up and that we don't like sex anymore. And then for men, it's maybe less accepted because there is a pill out there, a few of them now that help. But like erectile, I don't even like the term erectile dysfunction. Like it's not a dysfunction. Like, I guess it is. But the way that it's
more of a malfunction.
Yeah, it could be, right? But there's so many things that are at play. And so we just have we've been told by a lot of our elders to just accept these terms. And for some of us, it's like, no, I'm not going to accept this. But I often find that people that come to me don't feel safe, or they don't know what to ask. And if they do know what to ask, they don't feel comfortable asking it, and they don't know who to ask it to.
Right.
And so it's really great that like places like Shag, which, you guys are on the East Coast, but I know I'm not as familiar anymore, but Babeland sold out to a larger company, I think within the last 10 years. They used to be female owned, and I think they're still offer workshops and things like that.
Maybe. I don't know. The East Coast, the ones here have closed except for one.
Yeah. So it's like, it's not as common anymore to be able to have these places to go. And so it's amazing that we do have the online space, right? So like people can look you up, and like I imagine there's going to be a lot of things that we said in our talk today that people are going to be like, I'm going to have to Google that, right? Like
go Google it. Or you have Shebop. Well, that's in Portland. Shebop's in Portland,
which is not
and they
far.
have workshops.
Yeah.
They do, and they record. They do them on Zoom. So I teach for them often, and I teach for them via Zoom. So we get people from all over. It's really fun when people chime in and say like where they're from, and it's usually not Portland.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny too, because like the Seattle sex scene, like we have the here's my perimenopause brain. We were just talking about this Center for Sex Positivity in Seattle. So there's and then there's Sex Positive Portland got so big, and so many of us from the Seattle area, that they created a Sex Positive Seattle. So there are communities in the area, but sometimes you just have to know that that's even a possibility. Like, it was within the last 10 years that I even learned that there were sex clubs in the area. I was like, what? I had no idea. So
people don't even know about FetLife. Like I run into so many people who are like, I'm like, oh, do you know about FetLife? They're like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, that would solve the problem you're having. Like when they're looking for a community, I'm like, oh, if you go on FetLife, you put in your zip. The only information you have to put is like your zip code.
Right.
You don't even have to put like a picture or a name, like, but put your zip code in, and then you can change it. I change it when I travel to see what's happening where I'm going.
That's good to know.
Yeah, you can just go in and change.
There's too many people in Antarctica.
There are. I was like, what's going on
there?
What
is it? No. That's people use it as a fake. They don't want people to know where they are.
But if you want to know what events and things, you have to like put your real zip code in. But it's, I mean, that's so helpful when you're looking for community or looking for things to do that might help you find community. It's like finding that starter point, and just even that basic website people don't even know about. And it's like, I feel like I'm not helping when I'm just like, all I got for you is this. And they're like, oh my God, that's so amazing. It's a thing I didn't know. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. I've also found that once I get into an event and I connect with other people, then there's a lot of smaller communities. And my background in these types of communities is definitely around like sacred sexuality and conscious connection. And for a lot of people in those spaces, they're not going to feel as comfortable going to other types of events. And so figuring out what you want often comes through figuring out what you don't want. So
Right.
just be brave, find a friend if you need to hold your hand and get to an event, and
Yeah.
then see the people that you connect with there. And it's a really it's such a loving space. And I got tied up for the first time a couple months ago with a person that teaches shibari. And as he was tying me up, he was telling me his story of introduction into rope and introduction into the kink scene, and talked about how that community saved his life. Like, he was in a really dark place and he really needed love and healing, and he found his people. And that's the thing that I think is often missed and forgotten for people on the outside who are too terrified to admit that they have a kinky side.
Listen,
So they
kink
judge it.
helped me. Yeah.
Yeah.
They judge it and they don't realize it's a tool. I mean, kink helped me process a lot of my trauma. It helped me, I was a little for a very long time. I don't gravitate towards it as much as I used to, but I realized it's like, oh, I never got a childhood.
Yeah.
I was raising my siblings since I was a little kid, and I didn't just get to be a kid. And when somebody told me, they're like, I feel like you're a little, because the
What is a
things that you're
little?
into. A little is, I mean, there's different age ranges, but a little is basically you're embodying your younger self. Like they're adult babies and they're doing baby things like diapers and whatnot. Littles, we like cartoons and crayons and onesies and things, and it's usually nothing to do with sex. It's just age dynamic of
Yeah.
having somebody take care of you. Like, I've gone to kink events and they have would have a daycare where you drop your little off and we make friends, and you bring your
Awesome.
stuffies
I
and you
love
do your
it.
things and you're coloring, and you just get to be in the space that maybe you didn't get to be in.
Right.
And then there are some people that do, I think once you start stretching into older, it's age play.
Yeah.
But littles are solidly, like, I always think of littles as like 7, 8 and under. Like,
Yeah.
that's the age people are embodying. But it really was just the space to be in, to just let go and like go to a park wearing a romper and pigtails and have a pacifier and play, and or go to this event and they would have a ball pit, and it's at a kink event and there's a ball pit out in the courtyard, and I would just like, what? Find me in the ball. Like, I'll be where's Lola? She's in the ball pit. Go to the
Yeah.
ball pit. And I like other kink things. Like, I am very much so a masochist, but just having that outlet was so healing and so nourishing. And I don't gravitate towards it as much now. And I remember the last big kink event I went to before lockdown, before COVID really hit, was in Columbus, Ohio. And they had you could bring stuffies to donate. And I was moving because I was going through a divorce, and I had to like downsize. So I had all these stuffies and things that I was letting go because I wasn't really doing my little stuff as much. And I remember it being a little heartbreaking to let them go and say goodbye. And I remember sitting them on the table, but then how happy I felt. I saw this, like, people like hugging the stuffies I had donated, and I would go, I'm like, thank you so much for adopting my friend. And they're like, I love them. Thank you for like leaving them for me. And it was just this special exchange that you would never think would happen at a kink thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, people don't think that, but it was this sweet, like, changing of the guard, giving somebody else like a support stuffy that, they're going to cherish. And then like I get to let go. And that's kink for me, right? It's very nourishing. It's very, like, a lot of my body stuff, I didn't have feeling in my nipples forever because of the stuff I went through. And I got that back because nipple clamps and banding, your brain can't ignore that shit.
Yeah, right.
Your brain can't shut that off. Your brain's like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
But that was the stuff, like, in tandem with therapy, having these moments really helped me work out a lot of shit and just get back into my body.
Yeah.
Like, you can't not be in your body when you're experiencing pain.
Yeah.
And centering in on that and honing in on that, especially when you enjoy it, but like really kind of being in it helps you stay in your body and not float away. So if you're
Mm.
somebody, I dissociate and I will leave during sex. I used to, and now I can control it better because of the things I learned in my kink life.
Well, and
Right.
that's part of it, is being in a container where you know that you're in control of what's
Yes.
happening. And I do talk about this a lot with clients about titration, right? This ability to go out to the edge of where you can stay conscious, and then being able to be present enough and moving slow enough to notice, like, oh, I'm starting to drift off. We need to come back home. And
Yeah.
yeah. And I also like that you said in tandem with therapy, like, sometimes people aren't meant to go into these communities without having a support system, but you will find references and referrals and different places in the communities. And that's what's
Yeah.
really beautiful, is like, nobody's going to take you out to the cliff's edge and be like, good
No.
luck.
Yeah. And friendships. Before I did any really heavy play, I was just making friends. I
Yeah.
was learning about it online. People get mad at me one time when they're like, if I want to know, and I'm like, here's a list of books.
Mm.
And they're like, what? No, you should know. Like, I want you to read. Why, though? Is not, it's like, one, a really good book about kink is like the ultimate guide to kink. It just gives you a little snippet of everything, right? So you're sitting with it, you're maybe learning about some stuff you didn't know about. You're maybe learning about some stuff you were curious about, but you're coming into the space with a little bit of knowledge. Also, those books are written by people who are often out in the world. So if you ever get a Tristan Taormino book and you hear Tristan Taormino is going to be somewhere, that's your moment. You're going to go listen to Tristan speak, and then you're going to see other people there who are probably kinky because they've either watched Tristan's porn that she used to produce, or the books she's written. And there's things within it. So when Melina William Haas and Lee Harrington did Playing Well with Others, it's a very thin book, but it's a great book on like going to your events, what you should probably wear, hygiene, etiquette, little stuff, right? And in that, again, now you're learning about these two people who are very like big names in the kink world. And if you're ever just looking for a touch point of somebody to go hear speak, or you see a conference and now you know names, so it like gives you like, oh, I want to go to that, right? So all of that, and even a lot of these books will mention people, places, things that will become part of the building blocks of being in the community. And so I want you to know about it, but also just manning yourself with knowledge. I did a lot online before I ever stepped foot into an event or a club. It was reading people's blogs, like people on Twitter who I met who had active blogs about all the things they were doing. It was so fascinating and so helpful.
Yeah.
To read and hear. And also because you're reading about the good stuff, the bad stuff, the traumatic stuff that might have happened. And you're like, oh man. And even with all of that, I had my own traumatic first experience in meeting people that really changed how I deal with people and trust and whatnot in the kink community. But even that, I often share, like I met somebody and we went to Canada to play, like we went to a torture garden in Canada. I was with my ex-husband. I had done all this negotiating. I thought I was doing everything. I had a safe person. He was literally in the room with me, and the type of play they were doing was on my chest. I didn't know anything about not really doing heavy play on your boobs and your chest. And it was so heavy, I went into shock. Like my skin was hot, I was vomiting. I had deep bruising. That is not a place you're supposed to be playing.
Yeah.
Because of all the talking, thought this person knew what they were doing in all aspects, and they didn't.
Yeah.
And my poor husband had to drive across the border with
Hmm.
me, like wrapped in a blanket, sipping Gatorade, shaking and like looking all
Oh.
crazy. And I'm like, yeah. So even when you think you know,
Yeah.
you got to do even more. Like you got to
Totally.
do like what is the play you want to do? Go learn about that. So
Yep.
you can call it out if something doesn't feel right. You can go, this doesn't feel right to me, or is this how this is supposed to go?
Yeah. I'd
Yeah.
love to talk a little bit more on a personal level. I had a question that came up for me yesterday when I was doom scrolling. I don't do that very often, but yesterday I was like, I'm doom scrolling. And this one says, what's an unobvious thing that you struggle with?
Mm. Poverty.
Mm.
No, but it's true, right? Like, I am in a space where, in the span of 6 months, all my jobs kind of dried up because tariffs happened. Companies pulled back on agreements. People, they were like afraid, so they let go. So all these other jobs that I had just ended abruptly. So I didn't have time to like replace them. And then it was just this domino effect.
Mm.
So I found myself going from being comfortable and trying to navigate and save to being not at all, like barely making my rent sometimes and
Mm.
doing things. It's hard to talk about, and people don't know that about me, and unless I say it out loud. And then if I say it out loud, they'll go, "Well, you were in Mexico." I was like, "Yes, somebody, that company paid for me to be there. They paid
Mm.
for everything. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to go. Like, they paid for me to fly there and teach and do a thing and paid me, and I didn't pay for anything. And if
Right.
I had to pay for anything, I would not have been able to go to Mexico." So, and it looks a certain way. Or like, I live in New York, right?
Mm.
And when I post things online, I'm dressed up, I'm out at a glitzy event. Know that I did not pay to get into that event.
Right.
I'm either working it, I'm probably working. I recently did a storytelling show. John Waters was a guest, Heidi Gardner was a
Wow.
guest. They both told stories. I got to tell a story. I got to share stage with John Waters, but I told a story. Last time it was Steve Buscemi. Like, it's amazing and glitzy and glam. I didn't pay to get there. I took
Mm.
the subway. you know,
Yeah.
like like it looks money, I guess, to certain people, but know that it was free. No, I didn't. No, I also got paid to do that. That was work for me.
Right.
So those things, and I think that's hard. That's hard for people to. It's something you're not going to see. It can be hard to talk about because you feel like you have to prove you're poor
Yeah, I
to
was gonna say,
people.
like, as I'm listening to you, what comes up for me, because poverty has definitely been my roots and a big part of my story, and
Yep, same.
coming from it at a different angle and trying to learn and unlearn. What I hear in that is that there's an explanation that is happening where you're explaining
Hmm.
to people. And I've done that too. Like, my ex used to get super pissed at me. He's like, you're asking me for child support when you're off in Hawaii. And I'm like, I'm working, dude. Like,
Yeah.
and but it's this, I go, and this is definitely my projection, is like, I don't fucking owe you an explanation.
Yeah.
And so then my question is, how can people support you? Like, what are the things that you want, whether that's jobs or
Yeah.
donations or ways that
Yeah.
people can invest in your businesses? Like, what do you dream of?
Yeah. Well, before I get there, I just want to say I think why I also feel the explanation is needed. I was literally having this talk with my one of my friends last night, is the internet is a lie. The internet is
Mm,
a lie, and people forget that it's a lie.
right.
And often they see you in a light that is curated, and it's curated for a reason. It has to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the internet. It's supposed to be curated. I'm not, and though I am authentic and I share the bad times, the good times, the shitty times, there are things I hold back because it's more of my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't always share them, but it is, the internet is a lie. And I guess it's a lesson in the lesson that I try to teach people, is that you think you're seeing something,
Mm-hmm.
but I just want you to know that, like, every time you see me at a thing that looks fantastic, I didn't pay the ticket price to be there. I am getting hired to be there. And this is few and far in between. I want you to understand that you could be doing all these things. You too could be in Mexico
Mm-hmm.
getting paid some money and then come home and all that money's gone because you have to pay all your bills,
Right.
and you are poor, and you are still poor. Like, it doesn't change. And so everything you see that looks sparkly and nice on the internet is usually, not that it's not real, but it's a facade. It's a
Yeah.
part of the story. It's not the whole story. And how people can support me, I think the biggest thing right now is for me trying to find more steady gigs. I'm working on, because I'm bad at it, because I haven't had to, I guess, in a while. Um, I have a whole slide thing I'm putting out, but like, you can hire me to do online personal shopping with you. I love that. That's one of my things I offer. If you want me to, we'll pick a couple websites, get on the phone or get on Zoom, walk through websites together. You can ask me questions as if you were in the shop shopping with me, and I can tell you about things and details and help you figure things out. I do consultations with people about polyamory, getting into sex ed, like whatever that is. We can set up a consultation and do that. I love that kind of work. It's work that feeds my soul on top of feeding me.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then I guess stay tuned to my Instagram because I am going to post. I've created a whole hire me
Yay
thing. So to remind people, like I do a lot of things and I can come to your events. Like I do a spanking booth and a sex advice booth, and you can hire me for all those things.
That's fun.
But I'm always on the hustle, but I also come from a family where we weren't like, my mom always said, don't tell people your business. And that did not sink in.
I came from those roots too.
Yeah,
we don't talk about
don't
it.
Tell anybody.
There's a
Yeah,
really big pile under the rug over there. Just don't look at it.
And I just never got that because I learned so much when people tell me their business. And it's not about being nosy. It's about, oh, I'm going through that too.
Yeah.
I'm having that moment as well. Oh, that's what's wrong with me. I've had so many aha moments about my body, health, things. When somebody else started talking about it, I was like, is that what's happening? So I don't, while I share my business, I share a lot. I think there's always like there's like a layer that I share to a point, but don't share. And people go, well, you share everything. I'm like, yeah and no.
Yeah.
Like I just had a big breakup with somebody of 8, my partner of 8 years, but because nobody ever saw his face, people were like, you were in a relationship.
Yeah, you just announced online recently that you were single for the first time in a long time, right?
Yeah, and I haven't been single for 25 years.
Yeah.
I was in a relationship with my ex-husband for 17 years, and this relationship overlapped with the end of that relationship.
Is this the guy that you also really close with his wife?
Yes, and we're still like I'm actually going to their house in 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
In California, and because their kiddo is doing a play, and I promised I would be there for it, and I want to be there for it.
Aww.
And I'm still really good friends with, not just friends. She's my family, his wife. We're family, and I would like he and I to be family. And I am angry about some things, but it's stuff I can work through, and I don't want to lose the family that I built. Like I don't want that to disappear. So that's a thing that I'm working on. But that stuff is hard to talk about. I don't think I told anybody when I was getting divorced for months.
Yeah.
I think I slowly told people in my friends, and I only wanted to tell people if I could tell them face to face. I didn't want to make an announcement. And then I realized there's no way I'm going to be able to tell everybody, but I had a lot of shame around getting divorced. I didn't want to talk about it. It felt like, how can I keep doing this work and talk about relationships and love? And I failed. And a little bit of that came up again because I talk about my non-monogamy a lot. And then I'm just like, now I don't have any non-monogamy to point. But it's not true because I'm always non-monogamous. Whether men and other partners don't make me non-monogamous. It's just part of the non-monogamy. But that was a hurdle, I had to work through to share with people. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I get that because similarly, I'm very, very open. And one of my teachers says an open book is still only showing 2 pages. And I really love that.
Yeah.
And recently, I have become a lot more quiet about things going on in my life. And part of it, at first I was afraid that I was doing it because I was hiding and I felt ashamed. But part of it is because I'm in the big space of, I don't know what the fuck is happening from one moment to moment. And so if I share about what's happening right now and then 30 seconds later, something changes, it just confuses myself and everybody else. And so it's just in this like waiting phase of, I got to see where this is taking me before I can digest it and really be honest about what's happening. But yeah, I get that too, because it's like, being a coach, when my life's a mess, I'm like, what business do I have telling anybody what to do with their shit? And it's like, what one of my teachers, he's in his 80s, and he says, you think you're here to see me, but you're helping me heal. And I know that as a coach, like what I'm teaching is because I need to take my own advice. And that's how I keep myself accountable. And yeah, so I get that feeling like, yeah, you're a very open person, but I also intuitively sense the ways in which you are similarly guarded to some degree. And I think that's normal.
Part of the guardedness is also the world is shit right now, right? So I'm not a woe is me person. I like to, when I'm talking about my pain, it's just because I would like you to feel it. I want you to empathize so that it can be used for other people. Like today, I wrote a Facebook post and I wrote about being a food insecure child, like that I grew up hungry often. And I'm like, have you been hungry? Do you know what that feels like? Like, I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to open a cabinet and a pantry and a fridge and there's nothing except for like condiments. And I know like my mom would just make us go to bed because maybe you won't feel hungry. And I have been thinking about that more with everything happening with people losing their benefits. And I'm like, that's a horrible feeling. And I grew up, my mom was an addict, and sometimes we were hungry because she was deep in her addiction and not asking for help and hiding, or had used all the money. And sometimes she was just a mom of 3 working and going to school and trying to feed 4 people on a minimum wage job and shitty SNAP benefits. And then I became like, as the eldest daughter, the person who had to go to the grocery store with a $10 bill. And I remember doing the math of like, there are this many cheese slices and this many slices of bread, and how many days can the 3 of us eat on this? And like, if I get peanut butter and like, this is the math. And it was going and staring at things for a long time. And now, because I'm back in a place of not having as much money, I'm reliving that a little bit of like sitting and looking at things and going, okay, it's just me though. And I was like, I was so much better at this when I was 12.
Yeah.
I was better at this when I was 12. I'm like, am I bad at surviving? And it's like, no, times have just changed. But I wrote about it, and not just to like, what was me, but it was just this moment of, other people are about to go through this. There are children that are about to go through this. There are mothers who are going to have to go through this. And if you can help, and I've been feeling really guilty because I'm like, I can't take a family shopping, but I thought about it and I said, you know what? But I always make a lot of food. Like, I still haven't learned how much pasta to make for one person.
Does that ever change though?
45 years, still not figured it out.
I either make too little or just too much. Never a thing. But I said, you know what? It's my fall, and I start cooking big batches of things in the slow cooker, and I bag them up for myself, because as a single person, it's nice to just dump it in a pot and reheat it. But I'm like, if you want to come sit in my kitchen and we can chat and hang out, and I'll send you home with whatever I make, I can do that. So if somebody's hungry. And it was just this moment where I don't think I ever talk about that part of my childhood. Like, I don't really bring it up, but it felt like this moment of being able to pull people in and not make people feel guilty, but just like, you see me all the time. You know me as the human I am. You don't know that I was a kid who was hungry. You don't know I was begging people for money. You don't know like the life that I lived, and you didn't need to know it. But now you need to know, because maybe it'll touch you a little bit to dig in and find where you can help. And I think that's when it becomes easy for me to share things, but I'm very guarded with other things when I don't think there's a reason to share. Like, I would be so bad at reality TV, because there are things that I feel I want to share because I think they're fun or funny. And there's real life things I want to share because I think they could be helpful. But if I can't, if nothing strikes me that this is actually going to help, and it's just like my info, I don't really want to do it. And part of it's for protection too, right? Like, I didn't talk about that partner because his wife could lose her job. And it could cause problems. So it wasn't that I was hiding him out of shame or he didn't want to be seen. It was protecting my family. And that was when we broke up. It just felt like it was a phantom. I can say it, but you didn't know him. So you didn't see pictures. I didn't make anniversary posts. Like with my ex-husband, there were all these things. People were invested. There we shared friends. He lives on the other coast. So there's not like there are people here who know him, but we're not having divide up friendships. We're not or divide or say please don't divide. We don't want to make you choose and or experiencing all that. It was just sort of like, oh, it's over, and then it was just over, and there wasn't a place to put it, right? There wasn't, nobody would know. And when I put that online, I felt like I had to combine it with my marriage because I was like, it honestly is this moment that while I felt single because he lives on the other coast, I am single right now. And but it took me, I don't even know how long it was. I think the day he broke up with me, I shared it because it was 9/11 and I was on my way to the dentist and I felt like it was funny. This is why it was like a one-woman show. I was like literally walking to get a deep cleaning and I'm like, this is the worst fucking time. Like it's 9/11. I live in New York. I'm walking to get a deep cleaning and I get broken up with. This is okay. Where's Meg Ryan? Like, let's make it into a movie. Let's do it. We're gonna make this into a film. So that, and because I could find the funny in it, it made it easy for me to share. But I think if it would have been a hard thing, I wouldn't have shared it for a while.
I get that.
Yeah. I think the thing that I kind of wanted to ask you that it seems like we've been kind of tap dancing around this a lot because we keep talking about like we get to a certain age and we learn and when do we start teaching? What, like, is there, you know, I said earlier, I have 2 daughters and playing this question over my head, it's like, oh, when should I start talking to my kids about it? And the answer that I come up with is when I find myself censoring myself to not talk to them about it. Right. It's like, like I'm not going to talk to my fucking toddler about blowjobs, but like if one of my kids is in the bathroom with me and then, points up and it's like, Dad, what's that? I don't have that. It's like, okay, cool. Let's talk about that instead of like, oh, let me grab a towel and awkwardly wrap myself up and be like, you shouldn't look at that. Right. So like, is there an age that you found that's like, hey, like we should start peppering this information in so it doesn't become so awkward. We don't have to watch things on YouTube when we get older to find out how to properly ask permission or, know
or
what
how
pleasure
to touch
is.
ourselves.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So, and I know that you did something with the youth sexpert group program for a while. Yeah.
I'm on their board. I'm still on their board. Yeah. Cool. It's stages, right? Okay. So what you just said about the bathroom, it's starting out when your kids are young, when they can start learning about their body parts. So the same way you teach them about this is your finger, these are your fingers, this is your nose, you can tell them about their own bodies. This is your vulva. That's what it's called, right? This is your penis. This is what it's called. This is your chest because they don't have breasts yet. So this is your chest. Why that's important is because when it comes to childhood sexual assault, cases get thrown out when children use nicknames for their body parts because it makes it so that the other side, which is what the defense, the bad guy can say, oh, well, did I really touch it? Because they call it a hoo-ha. Like what's exactly is a hoo-ha. So many cases get thrown out because kids don't know body parts. They know nicknames. Okay. And as a kid who had to actually go to court in the 1st grade, I remember it very well. And it was against a family member. And I remember I thought it was going to be fun because I got to wear a pretty dress and they told me I was going to McDonald's later. and I was like, okay. And I wasn't scared because he wasn't in the room with me. But I remember they just kept telling me to like, just tell the story, like tell them what happened. And they kept telling me not to deviate. Even as a kid, I was going to deviate. I'm doing it now. But I just remember that. And I think about that when with my sisters, I have 4 niblets. My sister and my sister-in-law both have 2 kids, boy and girl on both sides. And there's older kids and now there's younger kids. But I'm like, teach them body parts. That's where we start, right? And you teach them body parts, learning about their own body. And that's simple. We teach them about consent. You can start consent from the moment they start doing things. Like when it comes to pets, the cat doesn't like that. That's consent. The kitty doesn't like you. The kitty can't tell you what the kitty likes. So you have to be gentle. And if the kitty moves away, that's the kitty telling you no. allowing kids to have bodily autonomy around who they hug, who they don't hug, who they kiss, who they don't kiss, how they want to interact with you. Any child I ever meet, it's I'm like, hey, could I have a hug? No. Ooh, would you like a fist bump? Could I do a fist bump or a high five or this? They always choose something. And down the line, like I've had kids come back and they'll just hug me because I didn't make them do something they didn't want to do. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all the beginnings of sex ed, is teaching them those things. And so in each little category, you have a window that you can lead up to. So if you've already talked to them about body parts and you've been talking to them about consent, when the time comes where they're going to start going through puberty and you have those conversations about what's happening with your body, and you should have this with boys too, because maybe they're not getting periods, but they're going to start getting like super horny. They're going to start getting body hair. They're going to smell. It's a good time to talk about deodorant and showering, right? So you don't have to make it all about sex, but it's like your body's changing. You're going to start smelling funky because you're getting hair. You're going to start maybe having feelings. And if you are touching yourself, here's the etiquette around it. You know, like, and sometimes some kids, my little nephew, I found his penis and he was like, this feels great. And so I told my sister, I'm like, you got to have the, like, do that in your bedroom talk with him. And he's like, okay. And so that's a bedroom thing, and wash your hands.
Yeah.
Because he's fiddling, right? It's not shaming him, but it's like, don't do that on the couch.
Right.
Go in your room.
Or at the restaurant.
Right. But then when he hits puberty, you've been talking to him about that already, right? And so now it's just extending the conversation. And then we're talking, it's less taxing when you've had that conversation. This partner that I recently broke up with, their kiddo, when they were going through getting their period, we just sat around a table one night and we were talking about all the different ways you protect yourself, like, from bleeding. We were like, we were talking about menstrual products and over the years and how their grandmother had to use a menstrual belt, and how we had what we had, and how lucky they are because they have all of these choices and they get to decide what they want to use, and we were asking, like, what would you want? And then I was joking and saying, I told them that everyone has to have a new moon period ceremony, and we all wear red.
Yes.
And everybody was co-signing it, and I'm like, and we make a red velvet cake, and they're like, and that was the thing that was embarrassing. It wasn't talking about the natural thing their bodies does. It was that we were going to make a party and make them dance under the full moon and eat red velvet cake. But they were like, no, I don't want that. Don't do that. And now, like, I bought them their first vibrator. I said, do you think that they would, their parents had said, we think there's some things happening because this lube that was kind of, these packets have disappeared, and we found it in their trash can. And I said, bet, I got you. I've been waiting for this moment.
Yes.
And I had gotten this very specific kind of little simple vibrator, but it had a pattern that I knew they would love. I wrapped it up. I got like a nice bottle of like lube, and I got like a little like book about masturbation, and we just left it. No combo, right?
No,
like,
just leave it there.
But I told them, I said, one day you're just going to get a package from me, and you don't have to talk to us about it, but it's just going to be this. And I put like how you clean this, how to take care of it, all the things. But it wasn't awkward because we've been having those conversations. I've known them since they were like 7. So we've been having these conversations. And then now when they're older, when other things start to happen, we can keep building on it.
Right.
That's how you do it. Because you know your kids better than anybody else, right? So it's, if you can show them this is a normal thing to talk about, do you have questions? There's also books, right? There's there's American Girl Doll makes a really good book, and it's literally about like your body's changing.
Jane
and it
Fonda
talks about,
wrote one too.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's not Our Bodies Ourselves, but I don't have it on my bookshelf. But it's literally about like, hygiene as we get older, and the changes you're going to go through. And they do it for boys and girls. I wish they did. There was one that wasn't as binary in language for kids who might need that. But for the body parts you have, here's what's going to happen. Here's what you're going to go through. Even offering them that. And then when they're teenagers, there are things like the Teen Sexpert program where parents get to know what they're learning. You get to see the full curriculum. It's not a surprise. and you have to give consent for your kids to learn. And then
Mm.
after that, you're not in the picture. Like you off to the side. The kids have to. It's up to them to show up. It's up to them to tune in and be there for class and learn the things and do the things. But the whole hopes with that is that the more kids you have that actually know factual information, the more they're like little spies, right? So they're going to combat that one kid who told you that Coca-Cola will keep you from getting pregnant. So that was going around when I was a kid.
Good
like
Lord.
if you put a Coke, and that's just going to give you a yeast infection.
Well,
Right.
I was told as long as you pee afterwards, you'll be fine.
Right. If you pee, if you douche with Coca-Cola,
Okay.
if you or like you can't get pregnant if you do it this way. If sure, butt stuff, but if there's like I've heard if I'm on my belly and I do this, I can't get pregnant. I'm like, that's not true.
Oh man.
Well, they should also know, whoever's listening, if you're young enough, even if you're not young enough, you can also still get pregnant if the semen enters your body when you're on your period, because semen lives in your uterus or in your vaginal canal up to, is it 5 or 7 days?
I think it's 5 to 7 days. And then depending on where you are in your cycle and when you hit your ovulation, it can happen.
It can still happen.
Yeah. It's wild, right? And but having those conversations and arming your children with stuff like that, or even if the teen sex work program is free, but if you're like, my kid's not going to do that, Scarlet Teen,
I was going to say too.
Amazing resource.
Such
I send
a great
adults
one.
to Scarlet Teen
all the time. It's so helpful.
To the Scarlet Teen, you didn't get comprehensive sex ed. Go over here.
Yes.
But it's great because they can ask questions. They can ask someone who's not you. Like, even if you've had all these conversations, they may still feel weird about asking you certain things. So they could go to Scarlet Teen and put it in the question box. There's OK So, which is an app that they can go in. And the people they're asking are like educators. They're people who know what they're talking about. It's not a stranger on the
forum,
internet.
Where everybody has an opinion.
It's not a forum, right? So those are ways, and it's just, I think, letting your kid know, one, I'm here to talk to you about it. You've had small conversations leading up to it. Maybe you offer them these resources. Like, you don't have to offer to sit down and go through them. Vet them first, right? Everything we told you, you can vet. You can sit, you can vet it yourself, and if it's up to snuff, hand it over. Just write it out. Give it to them. Here, this is for you. If you have questions, please come to me. But you know what? I feel good about this resource and what's there, so I'm okay with you going through it. It's great. And that's the other thing I like about the teen sex work program is they have a whole section on porn literacy. They talk about like why just watching porn and trying to reenact it is dangerous and not great for you, and that it's an entertainment, it's a show, it's smoke and mirrors, it's not how sex actually works, and you shouldn't be trying to emulate it, things like that. And that's what we need. And I don't understand why people get so up in arms about sex ed, because we're not teaching your kids sexual positions.
Because people think that they're promoting it. And I just had this conversation with somebody else about certain substances that can be supportive for anxiety and depression. Psilocybin, I don't need to mask it here. We were talking about microdosing and children becoming curious about certain substances, and everybody in the circle that was having this conversation comes from a background of recovery, and it was really interesting to see where all of us sat. There was one person that was like, oh, that's really scary, you don't want to teach them that it's okay. And I was like, well, if they're already curious about it, like, do I want them to go find somebody else's substances and trust that it's going to be okay and not have them be in a safe environment? Like, I've got 16 years in recovery, but it's this idea that by supporting our youth, experimenting, exploring, and learning about something, that we're saying, go do the worst version of it that you can never imagine. Dive into the, porn, go be a porn star. If I introduce you to learning about what porn is and isn't, then that means that you're going to become a porn addict, and it's going to ruin your life. And
even with the drugs, though, like, I get same kind of deal. Same kiddo, their parents do things. They know about it. They
Mm-hmm.
ask questions about it, but they know like this is not for you. Like this thing's not you. And why they go? It's not just because we say so. It's because hey, your brain's still forming.
Right.
Yeah.
You're still like there's things that you need to like finish up with before you experiment. But there's other things like we had a what was it New Year's, and they asked if they could have one of the drinks because we were making what are they called? The minty one. It's
Mojito?
no, it's like chocolatey mint. It's not a cricket, grasshopper.
Grasshopper.
Yeah, and they were like,
The other
"Oh,
one,
could
the
I
other
have
bug.
could I have a grasshopper?" And they were like, "Yeah, because of the alcohols.
Right.
That is not a very alcoholic drink. They made them like a small one. They were in the house. They're not going anywhere. And it was like, what? Because let them taste it. And then there was one time they were like, "Can I taste the wine?" And they hated it. And they're not
That's
gonna
why I'm like,
now
get the
go,
gin. Let them taste the most disgusting version of anything
Yeah,
ever made.
no.
Oh, man.
Or they smelled the gin because we were making gin cocktails, and they were like, "No."
Yeah.
But that having that open dialogue about like we're okay with you having the grasshopper because it's got such minimal actual alcohol in it, and
Totally.
it's also like a chocolatey. We get why you want it. It's mint and chocolate and whatever. And here's the other stuff that's gonna be a little too hard for you. And like if you want to like stick your tongue in this, and you're gonna hate it anyway. And like having that, and they're not now. They're just like, no, this is. They'll be like, I don't know how you drink that. Like it's. But now, and if you make it a mystery, right? If you create mystery, there's going to be that moment where they're in somebody's house that you don't know, or that you haven't, maybe you thought you trusted, but maybe they don't lock up stuff or whatever.
Right.
And then they're getting drunk because maybe they don't like it, but it's peer pressure.
Peer pressure, but
And
also
so-
like there's something psychologically, there's a lot of the work that I do with people around addiction and breaking habits that they no longer desire is there's a hit when we do something that we believe is naughty. And that's why kink is such a big thing too. And I was just talking with a client the other day about no longer viewing watching porn as bad, or no longer eating sugary things as bad. And they were like, it's not fun anymore. And I was like, yeah, because you're not getting that hit of guilt.
Yeah.
So when we're kids and we're like wanting to rebel, it makes sense that we explore these things that our parents said are not allowed.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at places like Denmark, I mean, they've pretty much legalized everything. They've legalized all the drugs. They've legalized sex. They've legalized prostitution, like everything. It's like, hey, it's you. Do you. And to that point that you just made, they saw crime, whatever you consider crime, lockups, shit like that, all fucking go down significantly because it's not taboo anymore.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I'm going to do this fucking bad thing because I'm acting out. It's like, no, that bad thing is your choice to do. You want to put a needle in your body? Fucking put a needle in your body.
Right.
They're like, maybe I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
or it just becomes
exciting.
like put a needle in your body, but now you're doing it in a stage. People like it's not illicit when you take it out of the shadows.
Right.
It's not illicit, and maybe people aren't gonna go source those things in the light of day. I talk about my mom was an addict, and when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I was raving, and I remember being at first I was like, I'm straight edge because I had seen what drugs do.
Yeah.
I lived that life, like with my mom. And then I remember just being very curious, and I said, you know what, I want to try it. But I had that talk with a friend whose mom was also a former addict, and we sat in the bathroom and we said, okay, if we do this, let's make a pact that at some point, either of us are doing this and we're doing it because we feel like we have to and not because we want to or because we like it, that we will like be the one to go, remember we had this conversation and you need to get help. And it never happened. Like, I don't know if it's I know people with ADHD tend to have less chance of being addicted to things. But I like drugs, and then I can just put drugs down and forget about them. Like I
wish that were the case for me. I'm like, I'm ADD as fuck, and I'm like, give me all the drugs.
There were 2 years of all kinds of drugs, and then one day I said, I'm good. I'm gonna take a break, and it was my 21st birthday, and I drank half a glass of wine, and then I didn't do anything for like, I don't know, 8 months. And it wasn't me going, I'm gonna be sober. I was just like, I don't feel like it. Right. And I just did it. And then when I felt like it, I did it again. And even now, like booze will sit in my house because I'm a social imbiber of all things. I don't want to do drugs by myself. I don't want to drink by myself. And so if I don't have anybody to like hang out with and do things with, I'm not gonna. And so I just have like stuff sitting here. And I have friends come over like, why do you still have that? I'm like, nobody was here. It was just me.
Yeah.
So, and but that was a thing I learned about myself. And I think it was taking away the salaciousness of it. I was with other people. We were partying. I didn't feel bad about doing it. It was for joy. I think there was just something else. Like, I don't think my mom was doing drugs for joy. She's from the crack times. People were smoking crack out of, I don't know, just crack was not is not a joy drug. And also the 80s was wild. And I remember her job was offering recovery because everybody at that job was on drugs.
Well, the way you're,
and I'm like, oh,
well,
yeah.
I mean, even the way you're talking about like your desire, your wantedness to do drugs, like quote unquote drugs, right? It's a lot of that, like that reminds me of like Italy and their drinking, right? Spain and their drinking cultures, right? These European countries where it's healthy to have a glass of wine in the middle of the day and then take a siesta because it's more family based. It's communal. It's community.
It's connection. It's not disconnection.
It's not to forget. It's not. I mean, I had a 18-year-old niece. Yeah, I have an 18-year-old niece that I remember she got so frustrated one day because she was like, y'all fuckers drink to celebrate. You drink to mourn. You drink to, forget. You drink to remember. You drink to all these fucking reasons you create to drink. I don't get it. And I'm like, you're fucking smart, girl. You fucking keep that mentality because it's not one to be gotten right now.
No,
right?
It's not. And even that was, I think, the closest I came to like kind of being really fucked up was after 9/11. I was drinking to forget. Yeah. Like I would get blackout drunk and cry. Like it was hard. And I was young. Like my life had literally imploded. I worked down the street. I passed the towers every day. Wow. I came in underneath them, came out, walked past them. My job was right there. I saw them every day. I overslept that day. Like I was supposed to be at work when everything went down. And so I went through a really rough patch where I was just drinking to not think a lot. And I think that might have been part of the pause down the line. It didn't happen abruptly, but I think I was like, I've done enough.
Yeah. That's so interesting that you were supposed to be there because my husband was supposed to be there also.
Wow.
He had a business trip and I don't remember if he got sick or what happened, but he actually lost a coworker because she went in his place and he's really, every year celebrates her and remembers her and honors her and that. But
I was supposed to be there at 8:00 that morning we were doing an event and they wanted us in early at the restaurant to like make it extra nice. And I had worked late the night before. And I remember that last night leaving, it was foggy because it had rained and I didn't stop at all my normal places. And I didn't say goodbye to like my newsstand guy that I had befriended. Wow. And I just went home. And even then I remember it hit me. My roommate called me before I left and he was like, turn on the news. You're not going to work. And I'm like, what's going on? And everything was on. And I just stood in my living room and watched everything play out while I was talking to another friend who was supposed to come in later that day. And it was just like crazy. And not once did I think about myself, that I think about I would have been walking down the street to the restaurant when the first plane hit. And because I didn't think about myself, I didn't realize people were looking for me.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't get calls because the phones were down. So calls couldn't come in. It was really hard for people to get in touch. I got all these tearful, some angry, relieved, crying phone calls at like 7:00 at night.
Yeah.
When things were kind of coming back online. And I was like, it was the first time I cried that day, was realizing like, oh, everybody thought I was dead all day today.
Damn.
They could not get in touch with me. My mom, my sister, my brother, my best friend, everybody thought I was dead. His family, he had his dorm room calling, his family constantly calling my number, my uncle, like everybody thought they had already just decided my mom was looking at how to get up here because she was probably going to have to somehow try to get my body or facilitate something. They thought I was gone.
I'm so glad that didn't happen.
Wow.
Me too. But that was just how like we don't think about ourselves in those moments and like where you fit in things. And And I remember just being like, I didn't at all think that you would think, but why wouldn't you think
Right.
that when, yeah, it was wild. And that set off a chain. I know for a lot of people that set a lot of chains. I think that was probably the roughest time for me with any kind of stuff. But yeah, and now I've just been, again, I'm like, I like being with people. I want to be social.
Yeah.
It's fun. I want it to be fun. I don't want to use it as a crutch or a thing. I like using it, using certain things for, I'm realizing like, oh, sex is nice on this. But also in certain circumstances, right? Like we, as now weed is legal here in New York, so we get to explore. But then I meet new people and they're like, do you want to get high? I'm like, I don't know you.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yes.
I
Well,
don't know
I'm
you
so
enough
glad
yet.
that the universe decided that you were supposed to sleep in that day and that you could
Me
be
too.
here with us.
Yeah.
To start to close up today, I'd love to hear what's the best way for people to reach out to you, to connect. What I know we talked a little bit about ways that people can support you, but
Yeah.
what are some things that you might want to share to help us wrap up?
Yeah, so if you want to just see what I'm doing in the world, Instagram and Threads are probably where I'm most prolific. If you want to reach out with opportunities or questions, just tell me you adore me. You can send me an email. What is my email? Uh, is it Dirty Lola? Is it Lola at sexatagogo.com? Yes, Lola at sexatagogo.com. And you can also check out my website, dirtylola.co. There's like a response box there that you could put your question in or whatever you want to say, and it'll email it to me. So
Fun.
those are great ways to reach out. Yeah.
Awesome.
Amazing. Well, thank
And
you
if you're in
so
New
much.
York, come to Shag. Yeah, that
Yeah.
part. You can
I'm
come
gonna
visit
be
Shag.
I'm doing the second annual retreat that I was there for last year when I saw you. This time it's a little bit later in the year. It's gonna be December. So
Okay.
if
I'll be
you are
around.
coming out to the retreat, with the retreats in the Berkshires, but you can follow me back and we'll go to Shag together.
Do a little field trip.
There you
Yeah.
go. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Lola. We just love chatting with you. I've loved your
Same.
journey. Thank you so much for your openness and just like setting an example for us to just say, hey, like ask the fucking question, seek the answer,
Yeah.
right? Know where
Do
your
the
knowledge
thing.
is coming from and then chase it down on your own, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
Love it.
Well, thank you
This
Awesome.
so
was so
much.
great, y'all.
Yeah, most definitely. Enjoy your day. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.